Well, here's a question for you. Have you ever considered volunteering your time and talent to others just 'cause?
Well, Delaware Hospice is looking for volunteers for their program, and this could be the perfect weekend for you to find out more. Joining us to tell us more about Delaware Hospice's volunteer coordinator, Mary Costello. Thank you, Mary, for joining us this afternoon.
Well, thank you for having me.
First of all, tell us more about Delaware Hospice volunteer program. How important is it?
Oh, it's extremely important to Delaware Hospice Services. Our volunteers help in so many ways. Statewide, we have over 800 volunteers, and that is not enough because they do so much. Our volunteers help and support our patients and families, the caregivers in their homes. That's a big part of what our volunteers do. They are sitting with our patients so that the caregiver can get out. They're reading to the patient, providing companionship. They run errands for the caregiver and so forth. They're just such a support. They also make check-in calls, checking in and calling the patients and the caregiver and the family to see how things are going on a weekly basis. And in addition, they do so many other things. They help us in the office and with medical records. They help us with our events. They help us with our adult bereavement services, with our children's bereavement services, which we call New Hope. We have a wonderful summer camp, a weekly camp for the children in the summer. Right. In our beautiful center in Milford, our Delaware Hospice Center in Milford, we have 16 suites for our patients to stay. It's a short term. Usually the patients are with us 5 to 10 days. We have lots of volunteers there, volunteers at the reception area.
When I think hospice, I think generally, just like you said, bereavement care, end-of-life services. Right. But there are a lot of things other than end-of-life services that your volunteers help with.
Well, yeah, as I said, they help us with our children's program. They help us with our other hospice services, our transitions program, which is kind of, you know, they're not necessarily in hospice care, but they are seriously ill. We have a whole program that we call Transitions that helps with that. We have a new palliative care program, which is basically helping with relief from pain. You know, we're experts on that within hospice care for sure.
Mary, I imagine it takes a special kind of person to work with hospice.
Well, you know, I guess you could say that a lot of our volunteers come to us because they've experienced hospice care for a loved one, and they want to give back. They've kind of seen our team approach to care in action, and sometimes they've had a volunteer to help them, so they come to us that way. Our volunteers, the current volunteers really, people aren't going to say, you know, they get such rewards from what they are doing that they want to share that, and very often they're referring their friends, neighbors, family, so forth to come to help us as volunteers.
How about that?
So,
and you're needing volunteers right now.
We do. We have just launched a new program called our Vet to Vet volunteer program. Studies have been done that veterans at the end of life feel a need to share those experiences, those special experiences, but they don't feel that they're going to be understood by, you know, just the normal person who hasn't had that same experience. Right. So we are looking for veterans to be trained as volunteers to be able to support those volunteer vet patients.
And you mentioned training. There is some training involved?
There's quite a bit of training involved to become a volunteer and help us. And we are going to have trainings coming up, I think, as you mentioned in the beginning. We do have a training coming up in Dover this Saturday. I think you're going to have that up on your screen in a little bit.
Right.
You do need to call and register, and you'll have that information. That's going to be in Dover, and then we have a training coming up November 8th in Bridgeville at Heritage Shores in Bridgeville. We're very excited about that because our first off-site Sussex County training is going to be there at Heritage Shores in Bridgeville on Thursday, November the 8th from 8 to 4:30, and you will just need to call me at that number on your screen, 856-7717. Just ask for Mary Costello.
And of course, we'll have all this information on our website so folks can go back and find out.
Mary, thank you.
Thank
you for joining us
so much
this afternoon. And as always, go to delmarvalife.com, click on the show tab.
Well, still to come on Delmarva Life, October is Be Good to Your Lungs month. Did you know that? Well, how to make sure your lungs are in tip-top shape. I heard you inhale right there. Delmarva Life, life at its best here on Delmarva.